Hello, Felix from Nintendo Life here, and we just got announced that we're gonna see the trailer to the Super Mario movie. But with that, we got our first look at the film in a very cool teaser poster. So I thought that we would use the time waiting for that trailer to decipher every small details that we can find in this poster. Huge thanks to Sion for sending me this incredibly high detail of the poster, which means we can zoom in and find all the juicy details. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it. Let's start with the most obvious thing. It's Mario in the middle, and as we can see, he has a very less cartoony feel than usual. His hair doesn't go out in bubbles, his hands are much smaller, his gloves seem to be they have this little split, and his shoes is just not as a brown slipper, it actually has laces, it has texture. But a bit to the left of Mario we have, well, it looks to be Captain Toad, but it isn't, he doesn't have his iconic hat. He does have a backpack though, and we're gonna look quickly at what that includes. Firstly, we have some rope, we have a frying pan, we have a little tin cup, we have a blanket, a lantern, but on it we also have a couple of badges, and these looks to be a reference to Super Mario Odyssey. We have one of the Mushroom Kingdom, Peach's Castle, but we also have the reverse pyramid, which we see in the Sand Kingdom. Now that he doesn't have his hat on, we can see the texture on Toad's head. It's absolutely insane. And did you spot it? Toad has teeth. I think this is the first time, at least this looks like human teeth, which is a bit bizarre, and I'm just gonna move on to the next detail. If we keep going to the left, we have an antique store, and there's loads of cool details here. We have the axe from Super Mario Bros, the key from Super Mario World, at least, there's a lot of keys in the Mario games, but this one looks to be the one from Super Mario World. We have some other items like the boomerang, the Tanuki suit, the leaf, and we also have the P-switch, or a music block. And above the antique store, we also have an antique hammer, because that's the hammer that you get in the original Donkey Kong game. From the same game, we also see a barrel, and this has a POW block on, and behind that barrel we see almost like a small little cafe, a restaurant. It's food, and you can see that you can buy food. If we zoom in here, you can get a small cupcake, it looks like you can get bread, a sausage, and I can't quite make out the last thing. Also, in that antique store, if we go a bit back, we have a Yoshi egg. Now, we haven't gotten any voice actors for Yoshi, and we didn't even know if he was going to be in this movie. Maybe he's just a little cameo, but it's just cool to see that he's there. If we look a bit over the antique store, we have this Toad house, and it has this really nice staircase up with, regular breakable blocks. Are these blocks trapped toads like the original Super Mario Bros. Book said they were? Well, I hope not. It's just, I don't think we see those kind of blocks anywhere else on the poster, so I just wanted to point it out that they are there. Now, before we go forward, I just want to talk about the art styles, because it looks like we have a kind of mix. We have the classic Illumination art style, of course, it's them that are making the movie, but then we see the giant hills of this Mushroom Kingdom and the mushrooms itself, and they are just really hyper-realistic. I personally love how it looks. It looks good. But I can see people be a bit why aren't they just sticking to one art style? It can be a bit jarring, and it's interesting to see if they're gonna keep this during the whole film, but at least for the poster, it works 100%. A theme we've seen is that this looks to tie in with the Super Mario theme park that Nintendo is launching, and props to them, because then you see the movie and all the kids, I want to go there! And then there's actually a place that looks very similar to this one where you can go. Very clever on Nintendo's part, and I can totally see the resemblance. But that was moving a bit quick, because we still have so much to look at here in the foreground. Just below Mario, it says, only in theaters April 7th. So that just means that it won't come to streaming platforms first, it will be in theaters, which I at least thought that would be the case, because I know a lot of children, a lot of adults are gonna see this movie, and I just can't wait. But let's look to the right-hand side of Mario, because there we have an equal, just a lot of information. First off, we see the fruit stand shop. There's a lot of shops here, we'll talk about that in a second, but there we can see a bit to the right of this green toad that we have all sorts of different fruits that, you know, are present in other Mario games. We also have the Bitty Buds going, like, marching around from Super Mario 3D Land, and we also have this toad holding a Cheep Cheep in this bag. I just want to, like, zoom in on this expression from the Cheep Cheep. I love, like, all the expression. It looks so lively, this poster. And a bit behind that toast, I just said toast. But a bit behind that toad, we have a yellow toad, which is, he's like looking, oh, he almost has that face that we'll all have when we finally see Mario's actual face. He's going around with a bit of coins, he looks a bit guilty, maybe he's stolen them. At least there's a currency in this, like, a lot of shops, toads going around with cash money, they just want to buy all the power-ups. I don't really know how this is, if it's all for Mario or if it's like a whole society where everyone goes to work every day. Imagine Toad waking up.
Today I'm gonna work in an antique store.
Another Toad comes by.
Hey Toad, can I buy that P-Switch? Oh yeah, Toad.
Behind we have a shop where it looks like that's where the Cheep Cheep came from, because we have a Cheep Cheep, we have a spiny Cheep Cheep on the right hand side, and then we have some other, you know, water enemies that Mario normally fight against. I don't know what that shop is really about. Maybe you can just, like, get pet fish or sushi. I mean, it is Japan. If we then zoom in, like, it's not very clear, but there's actually another, it looks like another antique shop or just another power-up shop in the back. At least it has that POW barrel. It just shows that there are multiple types of the shops, which makes sense because in Mario you can, like, get items multiple different places. And you know what else is a lot of different places? It's the freaking toads. They are everywhere. You know, you have the ones in the foreground, but if you look in the background, like, we have some stuck on the platforms way in the distance, and we have other ones just chilling around this. Every time you zoom in on this poster, you find a new toad. Before we move further on into the background, there's this sign above the fruit market, which has a little chest from Super Mario 3. But what do we see in the background? Well, we see lots of stuff, mostly toad houses. Like, just behind that chest sign we have two red ones, a yellow one, and then further back we have this, like, two on top of each other. You also have the classic hills, but they look so realistic. Some of them almost look like they have fungi on them or something. I'm not sure. But how are all these toads transporting themselves? Well, it looks like they're pipes. Like, they have a really good pipe infrastructure. It starts all the way at the bottom. We have red, blue, green, yellow ones, and they go, like, from everywhere you would imagine. It doesn't look like the ghost one up to Peach's castle, but that's maybe underground like most pipes are. It's cool that you can see them, like, outside, but I imagine they have, like, a whole metro pipe system going on underneath this kingdom. But the most prominent thing here in the background is, of course, Peach's castle. It's glorious. Let's look at it for 1 second. We see the classic stained glass Peach portrait there, and that makes us believe that, you know, the Peach we're gonna see is gonna look faithful to the actual Peach. Like, we're not just gonna get a total, like, reimagining of how Peach is gonna look. It's not sure, but that at least gives me hope. The castle doesn't give much away otherwise, it's just that we can see how it looks. We have 5 big, you know, towers, and then we have 4 small towers in the front. There's a couple of, you know, trees on the side. You know, it's very standard stuff for Peach's castle. Above Peach's castle, we have some cool details. We have floating, like, rock platforms that doesn't look like anything from Mario. It more looks like something from Tears of the Kingdom, which a viewer of mine, like, made the comparison on my Twitter. So thank you for that. I got a good laugh. But on that platform, we have a cannon, which is from Super Mario 64. And it's cool to see that. It's something I completely missed in my first viewing of this, because it's really small. And something that's also small is this tiny little floating block. And what's in it? Maybe the blue shell power-up from New Super Mario Bros. On the Nintendo DS? I hope so, because it's been absent ever since. A bit to the right, we have some more floating platforms. They look absolutely stunning. Doesn't look very Mario-esque, but a lot of this stuff could be something from, I don't know, Unreal Engine 5. Then we have some platforms that look a bit more like they belong in the Mario world. We have some toads on top of it. We have some platforms going down like an escalator almost. I don't know how high toads can jump, because they look to have a significant distance between them, but since they are there, I mean, oh my god, look at that! There's just like a toad standing on top of it looks like a very, very dissonant block. How did he get up there, and how will he get down? That's the plot I want to see in the movie, how that toad got up there. And equally interesting on how a toad got there is a toad under this other platform a bit below, which, again, can toads jump that high? I mean, I hope so. In Mario Party they can jump. Where does the pipe lead? Does it lead to Peach's castle? Again, I'm just speculating, because there's just so much going on with this poster. See, now I'm just looking around, and it looks to me like we just have... Oh, there we have it. We have a toad jumping. Is he jumping to the platform? Is he jumping to the ground? I don't know, but we have confirmation that they can, jump a fair bit, which is good news for the two toads stuck. They're not the only toads stuck. There's an abundant load of toads. So the question is, are the toads going to be like the minions are in, since it's elimination? Are they going to be just like that? Are they going to be voiced by different people? Or are they all going to be voiced by the same voice actor? It looks like, at least from here, that a lot of the film is going to take part in the Mushroom Kingdom, but I do hope that it's going to be like Mario goes on an adventure to all sort of different kingdoms with different enemies, different friends. Yes. But that was every piece of detail that we could scrape out from this poster. Man, I've been recording for half an hour. The video is not going to be that long, but it just means how long I've been sitting just nitpicking what small kinds of stuff we saw in the trailer. Is there anything I missed? Well, do let me know down in the comments below, because, I mean, it's so packed with stuff. There's, already here, I've spotted this purple mushroom that I remember running on in New Super Mario Bros., which is these type of mushrooms that, bend when you land on them. Stuff like that, please let me know down in the comments. If you like this video, please spend way too much time over analyzing that subscribe button and give it a little click. And don't forget to check out our website, nintendolife.com, for all sorts of Nintendo related content. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Felix from Nintendo Life, out.